Why, as an SME in Accra or Ghana, I want to export my goods to my compatriots in Kenya, and yet I must take my local currency and change it into some third-party currency, and then it's changed again to pay my colleague SME in Kenya. And so the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System is a thing whose time has come. And with urgency, I should be able to ship my goods to Kenya and get paid in my cedis rather than in some foreign currency. And so that's something we need to work on. Things have progressed. There are now reefer vessels taking cargo that arrive in Tema and redistributing them all along the west coast from Dakar to Douala. So I guess that the logistics will come once the supply and demand is there, the logistics will follow. Africa's prosperity is not a threat to anybody in this world. Africa's prosperity will consolidate world prosperity, and it will be a positive for this world, not a threat. We have a crisis in our cocoa sector. We set a producer price for the farmer. At the time we set the price of cocoa on the international market was 7,200. We have a policy in Ghana where we give the farmer 70% of the world market price. The other 30% is used for administration, to supply fertilizers to the farmers, to provide scholarships for their children and all that kind of thing. The cedis value was 11.5 cedis to $1. After we set the producer price, the world market price has declined to 4,200. The cedi has appreciated in value to 10.7 to the dollar. And so suddenly it means that for every ton you buy at the producer price, you have a gap. And so we'll be losing. And so we held a crisis meeting and we took decisions. And one of the major problems is that to buy cocoa from our own farmers, we rely on funding from outside. And you know what the collateral for the funding is, our own cocoa beans. And so you have to collateralize the beans to the financier, buy the beans and just ship them, and they pay you the international market price. So one of the key decisions we've taken is that we're going to stop foreign funding for the purchase of our cocoa. We are going to raise domestic bonds. We have enough cedis in Ghana to pay for our cocoa. We're going to raise domestic bonds, buy our own cocoa. We don't need to collateralize the beans. We have the capacity to process 400,000 tons of those beans, processing capacity in Ghana. But because the beans are collateralized, we cannot even allocate those beans to the local processors. We have to ship all the beans outside. Now, if we buy the beans ourselves, we can take 400,000 tons out of the beans and give to our local processors to add value. That is what the Accra research is about. I say by 2030, there are not going to be any raw mineral ores leaving Ghana. You're not going to ship manganese ores out of Ghana raw. You're not going to ship bauxite ore out of Ghana raw. You're not going to ship iron ore out of Ghana raw. You must process all that locally. That is the only way we can provide opportunities for our young people.
Wow, greetings and welcome everyone, family, brothers and sisters. That is a message delivered by the President of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama. The message that shakes the African Union. President John Mahama has joined brave leader of Sahel, Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso to say that no more resources will be exported outside of our continent or our countries into law forms. The question is, African leaders, these whom they call themselves democratic African leaders, are they led to support this statement? Are they led to join President John Mahama to stop export of low minerals? Or they will keep aside? Because we know very well, history has teaching us that people such as Gaddafi came with the same idea. Gaddafi came with the idea of stopping Africans, especially African leaders, to export low minerals, and also came with the idea of African single currency. The thing that President John Mahama has touched, that it doesn't make sense that We are trading among ourselves, but we depend on other currencies, for instance, US dollar. Why don't we have our own currency? The issue here is not about talking. It's not about good message. The issue is implementation. Our leaders, are they ready to support this step? Are they ready to join President John Mahama? If it was my decision, have to tell President John Dramani Mahama, you are neighboring with Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. Why don't you join Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso? We know Ghana is a member of ECOWAS, but if it comes to the issue of Africa, I think we need to come together. No matter what Burkina Faso is doing, no matter what ECOWAS are doing, but we need to make sure that we bring together our countries.
I told you that Africa is one of the richest continents on Earth, but still trades like it is poor. I told you that Africa has 1.4 billion people, the largest free trade area in the world, the most valuable resources on the planet. Yet Africa still needs foreign currencies to buy and sell from itself. If Ghana wants to trade with Kenya, if Nigeria wants to trade with South Africa, if Senegal wants to trade with Ethiopia, pay in African money. They don't use African systems. They don't rely on African financial power through the US dollar. They go through foreign banks. They go through systems Africa does not control. The African Union Summit in Addis Ababa, Ghana's current president, John Dramani Mahama, stood before African leaders. Something that could change Africa's economic future forever. I should be able to ship goods to Kenya and get paid in cedis. Statement is not just about money. It is about power. It is about sovereignty. It is about Africa's economic freedom. We are talking about why Africa must stop using foreign currencies to trade with itself. President Mahama is pushing for a Pan-African payment system, and why this could be one of the most important economic shifts, bigger than politics. This is about Africa's destiny. Tell ourselves the truth. Exports gold but imports jewelry. Africa exports cocoa but imports chocolate. Africa exports oil but imports fuel. Exports raw materials and buys back finished products at high prices. And even worse, Africa cannot even pay itself without using someone else's money. Now, when two African countries trade, the money often travels like this. Local currency to US dollar. Finally, to the seller. What does that mean? More bank charges, more delays, more dependence on foreign systems, exposure to global financial shocks. It means Africa's trade is still tied to external control. Dollar is scarce, African trade suffers. When the dollar becomes stronger, African currencies weaken. Foreign banks change rules, African businesses struggle. This is not real independence. This is economic dependency in a modern suit. President John Dramani Mahama is saying, Africa cannot build a united economy like this. Standing at the headquarters of the African Union in Addis Ababa, President Mahama delivered a bold and urgent message. Africa must fast-track a Pan-African payment system. Not in the future. Not in 10 years. Now. It's a simple but powerful question. Why should Ghana pay Kenya in dollars? Why should Nigeria trade with South Africa through foreign banks? He is right. Why should African money leave Africa just to come back home? African trade built foreign financial systems instead of African financial systems. Should Africa, a continent of 1.4 billion people, behave like it has no economic confidence? Then Mahama is not calling for isolation. He's calling for self-respect in trade. He is calling for African control over African commerce. Where PAPSS comes in. PAPSS means Pan-African Payment and Settlement System. The language. It means African countries can trade with each other using their own local currencies. Pays Kenya in cedis. Kenya receives in shillings. Nigeria pays South Africa in naira. South Africa receives in rand. US dollar in the middle. No euro in the middle. No foreign banks controlling the switch. This brings faster transactions, cheaper trade, stronger African currencies, more inter-African trade, money staying inside Africa. This is not just a technical upgrade. This is economic liberation infrastructure. African money builds African banks, African businesses, African industries, African jobs. Africa starts trading like a continent that believes in itself. Today, many African countries are facing dollar shortages, currency instability, rising import prices, heavy debt pressure, financial influence. A single decision in global financial centers can shake African economies overnight. Is that sovereignty? That is economic vulnerability. Africa is rich in gold, oil, gas, lithium, cobalt, land, youth, markets. Africa is still poor in control over its own systems. It builds strong industries, strong trade networks, strong technology sectors, strong manufacturing bases, top of foreign-controlled financial pipes. Mahama's message is clear. Political independence without economic independence is incomplete. Not just Ghana's fight. This is not just Kenya's issue. This is not just Nigeria's concern. This is Africa's moment. Africa has the people, the resources, the market, the energy, the potential. The real question is, do African leaders have the political will to trust African systems, build African institutions, reduce dependence on foreign financial control? About the next 50 years, not the next election. Because, let's be honest, as Africa trades with itself using foreign currencies, Africa will never be fully economically free. Control your future if you don't control your money. President John Dramani Mahama's message in Addis Ababa was not just a speech. It was a wake-up call. Africa cannot keep exporting value and importing control. Africa cannot keep building other people's systems. Africa cannot keep calling itself independent while its trade depends on foreign currencies. PAPSS is not a luxury. AfCFTA is not a slogan. Economic sovereignty is not a dream. It is a necessity. Africa has the resources. Africa has the people. Africa has the market. What Africa needs now is courage, vision, and action. Because the future of Africa will not be given. It will be built. I believe Africa must trade with itself in its own currencies. If you believe African money should build Africa, believe economic freedom is the real freedom. Like this video, share it, subscribe, and comment. Africa must control its own money.
Yes, welcome back, family, brothers and sisters. You heard a lot, but all in all, the question is, are we ready to implement what we are talking? African leaders, are they ready to collaborate and to say enough is enough? Are we ready to stop exporting our low minerals? Are we ready to have our own currency? That's the issue that we have. We are good in talking, we are good in planning, but when it comes to the issue of implementation, that's where Africa, we are failing. Maybe let us wait and see what will happen. You know, one thing that I understood in my life, that the Western power, they have introduced something called democracy in Africa. They know very well. Some leaders will come up with their good ideas, but within a short time, they will be taken out by what we call election, periodic election. So they will wait maybe 4 years, President John Mahama will be voted out. That's what is always happening. And sometimes even African leaders, those who are in power, they fear sometimes even to support good things because they fear that maybe during the election they will be voted out by citizens who will be sometimes supported or sponsored by the Western power. The question here is, as Africans, are we really committed with those changes? Are we led for the changes? Do we know what we want? Because if you look very well and very keenly, you will understand that we lack nothing in terms of articles, in terms of planning. But what we lack as Africans is actions. For a long time, we have been speaking, we have been planning, but we are not implementing. And that's why sometimes people are calling the African Union a talk show. It is not just like a place where decisive actions are going to be taken. No, it's a place where old leaders and people are coming to just talk, but no action. So question is still on the table. Will we Africans implement what President John Dramani Mahama has said, or after his tenure, things will remain the same. But all in all, people have been asking also, why President John Dramani Mahama not closing the US base in Ghana? Of course, we know the issue of US military base is so very complicated. We know that these sometimes previous leaders have been sold Africa and signing sometimes even difficult contracts that sometimes it is difficult to break. That's why even leaders who are coming, they are facing a lot of challenges, even to break those contracts. So President Mahama, maybe he will do so, but I'm not sure if he will succeed. Of course, we have also President Boko of Botswana. We know very well that US has military base in Botswana, and the aim is to counter South Africa. But President Boko cannot succeed to close US base in Botswana because the previous regime has signed contracts that is so hard and difficult to break. So you need to pay a lot of amount of money. The way right now you see South Africa and Zimbabwe struggling with the issue of the land in their territories. So, but all in all, family, let us not speak for too long. I'm waiting to hear a lot from you through the comment section. Please, you may share also this video. What is our stance on the statement made by the President of Ghana, President John Dramani Mahama? Are we led to support him? Are we led to join him? Those are questions that we need to give answers. So after that, let me say thank you, have a nice time. Until then, thank you.
Thank you, Africa. Mama Africa. Oh, yeah. You make Africa great. Thank you, Africa. Thank you, Africa.